Welcome to Drive Time, the UCLA Anderson podcast. My name is Dylan Stafford. I'm an assistant dean here. I'm your host. Today, it's my pleasure to be speaking with Maxine Hupy, class of 2021, about to graduate about a month from now. Maxine, welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It is morning. Yes, usually I record these in the afternoon, so this is it's a different energy, but I'm a morning person. How about you? Are you morning or evening? What's your high energy part of the day?
I'm a night owl, but I love coffee. So, as long as I have my coffee in the morning, exactly. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm good to go.
Excellent. Well, I am thrilled that I'm going to learn a lot from you. I'm really impressed with your somewhat of a non-traditional MBA before story, an entrepreneur, a social media influencer, a professional dancer. And now, at the end of the summer, you're taking one of those cash and prizes type of outcomes that people love from an MBA. You're going to be at Deloitte as a senior consultant. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's just fantastic. I think you told me 12 people from Anderson are going to Deloitte. So you guys are going to walk in the door with some Anderson swag and that's it. Hello, we're here to analyze. And for those of you listening, Maxine is one of our summer spotlight nominees. She accepted a nomination for, we sent a survey. Darcy and Sam came up with this last year. This is our second year to have this, where we sent a survey to the class of 2021 and asked, whose stories should the world hear? And out of a choice group of almost 300, Maxine, you're one of the nominees. So I really appreciate you being willing to humble brag a little bit. It's hard to talk about ourselves, not for everyone, but for many folks, and your peers want to hear. And I want your story. It's like I said, I want your parents and grandparents to be proud of this. I want you to enjoy the story. I'd love for your class of 2021. I never got to be in class with Maxine. We were always in different electives or in different sections. I'd like them to get to know you. Obviously, many of them already felt strongly enough that they wanted the world to know you. I want our entering students to possibly get some tips and tricks, and then just to share your story with our bigger alumni network in the world. So just really thank you for saying yes to this conversation. Thanks, Maxine.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I'm really excited to chat some more today.
All right. Well, we'll start in sort of typical fashion. Why don't we, let people get a sense of who you are? Where'd you grow up? Tell us about the small version, the mini me version. Where did you start in life?
So I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Go Packers. I'm a big Packer fan. And I grew up there, typical childhood, I would say. I have a younger brother who's my best friend, and he and I both danced ballet together. I think I convinced him to start, but I was the ringleader there. And while I was dancing ballet, I performed in the Nutcracker every year. And let me do the screen share now. Here is a picture of me as an angel in the Nutcracker. This is my very first role. Had the wings and the halo and everything. And at age 13, I don't have a photo of that, but I was the youngest to perform the lead role of Marie in the Nutcracker, which was a really big honor. And, after graduating high school, I continued dancing. Every summer I would train with one of the top companies in the country, and they offered me a position in the company, but I turned it down in order to go to Northwestern University for college. I'm a big nerd. I love school. And so I decided to go to college, and, I actually continued dancing there. So I double majored in dance and Spanish. I minored in marketing. And one of the big things I was involved with there was the dance marathon. So, dance all around. But the dance marathon, if you're not familiar, is a big charity event. We dance for 30 hours straight, and we raise funds prior to that in order to benefit the charities that we pick each year. And so I have a trophy still in my room in Milwaukee from raising the most money. And so it's a big trophy with a couple like a ballroom couple dancing, and that's still in Milwaukee. But in addition to the dance
30,
marathon,
30 hours, like
yeah, 30 hours
nonstop?
straight. They give you, I think it's 3-hour blocks. So they're 10 3-hour blocks where you get to pause for 10 minutes and you either change locations. We had 2 different areas because there were so many people participating. You change locations, you can get some water, and you can, if you want, change your clothes. So they recommend that you bring a backpack with different shoes and shirts and everything. And so you have a 10-minute window to do kind of all of that.
How much money did you guys raise?
We raised several million over the course of the 4 years I was there.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. And what's the charity it supports?
So each year it differs, but it ranges from pediatric cancer all the way to homelessness in the area. And so we pick a local beneficiary as well as a national beneficiary each year.
Oh my God. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, what dance do you do that you can do for 30 hours? Like,
I mean,
everything.
it becomes a step touch at a certain point. And then when the sun comes up, because you do this overnight, right? When the sun comes up, they drop these yellow balloons down. It's really exciting. That's probably the highlight of the 30-hour, that and the finale.
And does it start in the morning?
It starts in the evening.
So you've already been awake a whole day and then you go 30 hours?
Yeah.
So it's more like a 48-hour.
Yes, it is. And then, seeing everybody walking back to the dorms in, zombie mode. Your roommate comes with like a pillow here.
And you did it every year?
It did, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh my God. Well, I have a cousin. So I went to Chicago for my MBA.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin, one of my favorite cousins, her name is Susan, and she was a dance major at University of Chicago as an undergrad. So look at Chicago cranking out the dancers.
I know. So, I mean, in addition to the dance marathon, that wasn't, part of the dance major, but I did dance in a number of productions there and some musicals. And, I wanted to do more than that. And I wanted to raise funds for Dance Marathon in a different way. So I actually started producing my own shows while I was at Northwestern. And, I like to say that was where I got my production bug, but also, the entrepreneurial bug, although I probably inherited that from my dad since he runs his own business,
Okay.
which has carried through to now and to Anderson. And then after graduation, I moved to Los Angeles, where I still live today.
Okay. Well, before we get to LA, so okay,
sorry.
what kind of business is your dad? What's
my dad's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. Okay.
He's a personal injury attorney. I'm really proud of my dad. He has 11 offices throughout the Midwest in Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa. So if you're listening from any of those locations, I hope you never need him. But if you do, Hupy.com, you can find my dad there.
Oh, how cool. And oh, wow. And your brother, did he continue dance or?
He danced in college a bit. I kind of forced him to, but now he followed in my father's footsteps, and he is a lawyer, but he does mergers and acquisitions in New York. I'll actually talk about him a little later too when we talk about Anderson, but he, oh my gosh, works insane hours. Before COVID, sleeping under his desk. Now he sleeps when he can.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So you come from a family of hard workers. Okay. I get it. Yeah. A little.
Yeah. And my mom too, she raised both of us, but she also ran her own business. She was in the corporate world, and she is an amazing woman. She does everything. I mean, I don't think there's anything my mom doesn't do.
Aw. That's beautiful. And the dance bug, do mom and dad dance, or did it start with you and your brother?
It started with me, I would say. My dad has 2 left feet, and if you ask my mom, she'll tell you she's a dirty dancer. So don't ask her.
Oh, I want to have a meal with your family. Okay, all right. I'm loving these folks. That's awesome. What do you get? 2 left feet and dirty dancing. You get 2 kids, powerhouse, both coasts, making it happen. How exciting. Wow.
Yeah, well, and my brother and I used to partner in ballet, and people would get confused. Are you guys brother and sister, or are you a married couple, at age 12? Because we would bicker like a married couple. And in ballet, you're taught that it's always, no matter what, it's always the man's fault.
Nice. Oh my God.
So, I had a valid excuse to always blame my brother.
Is that's a real norm from ballet?
Yeah. In partnering, if something goes awry, it's on the man.
That is so fascinating. Is it grounded in like the man is holding up the, is there,
yeah, well,
or is it just because that's probably accurate?
In a lot of the different moves that we do, whether it be a turn or a lift or something like that, the woman gets on her center, and it's the man's responsibility to keep her there. Okay. And so he does one wrong move, pushes or pulls too hard, and she falls off of her leg or off of her center, then it's his fault.
And he's probably in contact with the earth more than the woman's role, I guess.
Yeah, that would.
Like,
yeah.
the woman puts herself more at risk, I would guess. Just because.
Definitely, especially being in point shoes. And I broke my foot 4 times from ballet. I've had a lot of injuries. I have 2 torn labrums. Both of the labrums in my hips are torn.
Wow.
I have Achilles tendonitis. That's chronic. I'll have that forever. And I would say the women are more at risk. Although the men get injured as well. The women get injured more frequently.
Wow. Okay. Well, that norm may leave ballet and enter other areas of co-ed efforting. Let's just go into this. If something goes wrong, own it, cowboy. All right.
I like that idea.
Well, thank you for introducing your family. I'm none of us fall out of the tree by ourselves, right? We're all the product of our environment at some level. So I love getting to hear people's influences. And it sounds like you really sprung from a very active family. That's cool. So now, okay, so there's Chicago, there's Northwestern, and then somehow you get to LA. So tell us about that.
Yes. So I decided after graduation to move to LA to pursue a career in commercial dance. Okay. At the time, most summers I spent in Seattle with a ballet company, Pacific Northwest Ballet. But the summer between my junior and senior year of college, I came out to LA. I was really intrigued by So You Think You Can Dance, that show. And so I wanted to meet the choreographers and work with some of them to see if that was a viable, opportunity. I was thinking about New York versus LA. I didn't really want to do Broadway because singing wasn't my strong suit. And I wanted to kind of try new things. And Los Angeles has that opportunity because you work on several different shows or commercials, and they're shorter gigs and you can do more of them. And so I came out to network. I met a bunch of people and found an agent so that when I moved to LA, I had that lined up for me. And, since moving to LA, gosh, I've been here 9 or 10 years now. It's crazy to think about. And I've been on 3 different international tours. Oh, wait, I have a picture for this.
Oh, good.
There we go. So here I am on tour with CeeLo Green. This is one of the tours I did. On the left is from a show we did in Morocco. We actually performed for the King of Morocco. He arranged this whole show.
Oh my God.
That was incredible. I've been all over the world dancing on different stages. And then on the right-hand side is from our residency in Las Vegas. And we were there for several months. And that lifestyle was insane. Our shows didn't start until midnight sometimes. And so my sleep schedule was just bananas, to say the least.
doing the vampire living Las Vegas stuff.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'd wake up at 3 p.m. or something like that and have breakfast,
Oh my.
But
and how long was that?
The Vegas show was a couple of months. I don't remember exactly, but I was on tour with CeeLo for about 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
So we went all over the place. I did a Conan O'Brien show with him, and yeah.
How many people were in the troupe? Like how many dancers were there?
So we had 10 in Vegas, and then from there we dropped down to 4. And he selected the 4, and then he was very involved in that. And so then I was one of the original ones left. There were some people that rotated in and out. And so I was, like the original.
That is amazing. Oh yeah. You have to have kind of a thick skin, or no? I mean, because it's just like he says, no, what are you going to do? It's like, okay, I didn't get it.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely developed a thick skin from ballet, because that is it's a lifestyle that you're told no, you're told you're wrong. That's not right. Everything you say thank you when somebody tells you you did something wrong. That your arm's in the wrong place. Okay, thank you. I will fix that. And so that's the training that I was brought up with. And it carries through. I would say that ballet taught me 3 lessons that I really carry with me all the time. One is dedication, stick to the path, give it your all. Discipline, to really stay motivated and to really, do what you have to do. And for me, sometimes that meant I didn't hang out with friends after school. Throughout high school, I danced 7 days a week.
Wow.
Every day after school, plus Saturday all day, we had rehearsals. And then Sunday, my mom would drive me down to Chicago, my brother as well, for private training that we'd spend a few hours in Chicago, each of us working with a private trainer. And so, that amount of dedication is, I don't know where else you'll find that. Dance is oftentimes looked at as a silly thing or a hobby, but it's really, we're professional athletes,
Oh my God. Yeah.
And when I told you my injuries, I've been injured so many times and in and out of physical therapy, and I'm sitting, right next to the professional basketball players, the football players, the baseball players. We have the same trainers. So, dedication. And then the third piece, the third lesson, the third lesson is really a lesson in failure, I would say. All those no's, but also, I audition every year to go to a different training school, or I audition to get a part, or I audition, in LA for the CeeLo Green Tour, or for whatever else. And really using failure as a lesson in adaptation and a way to bounce back and figure out how to bounce back stronger, I would say. And so I don't remember why I was telling you about these 3 things. Oh, you asked about thick skin.
And you're, just what ballet has given you, because you like what, let me tell you why it's I'm trying to raise 2 children and I want them to be successful in life. Right. And talent. I love the John Wooden quote in the Wooden Center. Talent might get you to the top, but it takes character to stay there. And you've had success in multiple arenas at various levels, but you're walking out of your MBA with, consulting and iBanking stereotypically, historically through time across the top schools, those are the high status takeaways, right? And there's lots of other ways to be happy in life, but those are the 2 high status takeaways. And you did that. We're Anderson, we're friendly, but there are 12 of you who made it through the gauntlet. And for future students, for people like, oh God, I'm not a business econ major, I can't get an MBA. Well, look at this. Dance and what was it, Spanish and marketing, or marketing minor. Just toss that in for a little crouton on the side of the salad.
Well, they didn't have the major available at the time. Otherwise I probably would have triple majored.
Well, yeah, if she could do it, I could do it. So I'm curious, that these stories, we're sharing success here, right? Anderson's a build your own adventure kind of place. You built your own adventure. You're building an outcome that works for you. And there's something common maybe in your approach, even before throwing your hat in the ring for graduate school and trusting Anderson as your partner and then getting through. So yeah, that's why I was curious about the question. I just want to put a little spotlight because, John Wooden, he loved, hard work, right? You can't coach size and you can't coach speed, but they're all those other intangibles that if we're, like, that's amazing. You said thank you wrong and you say thank you and you correct it and you move forward and you allow those micro adjustments to refine you, I guess, because ballet is such a precision sport, like.
Yeah, well, it demands perfection and there's no such thing as perfection. So you're reaching for something that's not even real, right? You want to be perfect, but nobody will ever be perfect. So you're striving for something that you'll never achieve, but you know that, but you keep trying because you can be almost perfect, and that's quote unquote good, not good enough, but it's good. And the other thing is in ballet, if you're not receiving the corrections, if you're not being told that was wrong, do this better by XYZ or try harder, then they're not paying attention to you. And then that's a problem. That's a bigger problem. Yeah. It's worse to not be told anything than to be told you were wrong.
Wow.
And I mean, you can be wrong, but like the little thing that could be wrong is the angle of your eye line was incorrect. Your eyes were looking too high or too low. Your chin was too high or too low. That could be your correction. Your correction could also be, your leg was totally in the wrong place. Mm-hmm. That's, the degree of incorrectness. It's very wide.
Yeah. Well, when we talk about, what's the one we talk about? Not beginner's mind, but not learning adaptive. Oh my God, my wife was talking about it at dinner last night. Anyway, I can't remember it. It's one of those phrases that we use, one of the buzzwords of the moment, but it's not change adaptive. Oh my God, I can't remember the buzzword. Anyway, you're doing a lot of that. It's not beginner's mind. Oh, growth mindset. Yeah. Fixed mindset, growth mindset, acronyms from MBA land. But wow, it sounds like an extreme sport of growth mindset and a willingness to take feedback. Mm-hmm. The coach says jump, I say how high. Right. I don't question the coach.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah. I mean, ballet makes math look easy, finance look easy. And then finance is not easy, let me tell you, because I've taken many finance classes.
Yeah. But going into a finance class with a pedigree, 7 days a week of anything. And what age did you start with 7 days a week, would you guess?
Oh my gosh. Probably around 13 or 14.
Wow.
Maybe 12.
Yeah.
I would say let's meet in the middle at 13.
Okay.
I don't remember, but it was for it was a long period of time. And, my friends at school didn't get it either. Even if they were on the track team, or our hockey team was really big, the hockey team, they weren't training 7 days a week. They were training 5 days a week, had games, every other week, something like that, once a week, maybe. But they didn't understand, why can't you come to these parties? So I stopped getting invited to parties, and I was just like, well, whatever, that's fine. I can't go anyway. They would come see me perform in the Nutcracker and everything, but yeah, it's a different lifestyle. Yeah.
You set some things aside to go for what you were going for.
Right. Yeah. It's a matter of setting your priorities. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I was still a good student. So, because that was a requirement in my household.
Well, you got into Northwestern. Yeah. You were doing something. You're doing something right. They don't let everyone into Northwestern. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, so we're coming to LA. You're doing the deal. You're doing it well. You're getting gigs in Vegas. You do a 2-year tour with CeeLo. Mm-hmm. What's the song he sings? What's the famous song from 5 years ago? The only song I know of his.
I'll say the PG version is Forget You.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, I love that guy's voice because he's the one with the crazy falsetto, right? Can't he?
Yes, his voice is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I in the 2 years, gosh, I would love to just, have him sing every day for me. His voice is incredible.
Well, okay. Let me do this one. So,
Yeah.
like sometimes when I'm making the case to my, we have these crazy conversations. You never want to see the sausage get made, but when someone applies with such a non-MBA background, sometimes it's hard to see what are they going to do with Anderson? Like, how's this going to work out for them? And like we're impressed, like, oh my God, Olympic athlete, amazing. But sometimes on the team we're a little bit, or faculty committee, like, okay, but we don't want the person not to thrive here. And I'm a sucker for, I love student body presidents. I love academy grads. I love Eagle Scouts. I love Division I athletes. And this is probably my own insecurity, but I look at people with stories like yours and I'm always like, well, I wouldn't have known all three, but I can see the discipline, I can see the discipline and I can go, when I look back at my own potential, realized or not, like, what did that person bring to their life?
Mhm.
And what lessons did they, it's like, we're going to interview Derek from your class, and Derek played in the NFL for 7 years. And, Derek's recreating himself as like a bridge between athletics and business. Right. And he's still in the entrepreneurial zone. Right. But I think to myself, man, he had to suit up and go to work on camera for 7 years, where every Monday morning people like to sit around and say kind of what you said. Here's what he did wrong. He went left when he should have gone right. And everybody knows he should have gone right. Literally the Monday morning quarterbacks. And I think to myself, man, I'd love to have a classmate who had lived that, because, like, those are lessons you only learn on the court, in the bright light, in the moment. You don't learn that from a book. You don't learn that by reading about it. So what's something, 2 years, how many countries, like, what's something you think maybe you learned from 2 years with CeeLo Green that, whether consciously or unconsciously, you gave to your Anderson FEMBA classmates? Like, what's something maybe that was part of how you comported yourself in your study group, or something that was just maybe a lesson learned from that chapter of your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I mean, you learn a lot being on the road. You learn a lot about yourself, about others. And I think one of the things that I took with me was really the different personalities people have at different moments. So on stage, you act one way because you have an audience. Off stage, you maybe act another way because you're more relaxed, or you're upset about something that didn't go right on stage. And now you can, show that. And so this is actually something that I think everybody kind of learned also in LF, in leadership foundations, when we took these personality tests to see how people react in different situations. And so being able to read people and being able to adapt, I kind of go back to the adapting and being flexible. Not every day is a good day, and not everything is easy, even if you have everything arranged for you already, and everything is supposed to go the way it's supposed to go, but it doesn't. Right. And so I think just keeping that open mind and flexibility with your partners, with your teammates, with whomever, is something that I knew before, but really saw it more being on tour. I'm sorry, there is a leaf blower in my background. I don't know if you hear it, but I can very much hear it.
Sorry for that. Yeah. This is live also. No, it's not coming through on the microphone.
Okay, so. Great. Okay, great.
I know, it's Los Angeles. There's always
something. But I think just being open and being able to communicate what you need when you need it, right? And being able to adapt to who you are with and what is the word? I don't know, just dance it out. Can't think of the word. They're the way they work and the way they need to, for example, this will be easier. In leadership foundations with my team, we found out that one person on my team doesn't like to be told what to do and will pull back when they're feeling threatened and when they're feeling stressed out. I like to tell people what to do when I am stressed and when things are not going my way. So, or not going the right way. So we had to work through that and say, okay, listen, if I'm telling you what to do too much, or if you feel like you are being told what to do and you're pulling back, then let's take a break and let's talk about it. And let's figure out what we need to do in the next step to move forward. And I think that, talking to my group in leadership foundations really helped solidify what I had learned previously, being on tour because when you're on tour, you're living with these people and they're not your family, blood family. They are your tour family, but you see them in the morning, you see them on stage, you see them after you're on stage, you're eating all these meals together, you're traveling, you're sweating, you're tired, you're happy, you're sad, you're a roller coaster of everything. You're essentially dating everybody you're on tour with, right? Because you see them morning, noon, and night. It's just like, oh, this is the relationship I didn't know I was in, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a long-winded way of saying, you learn to be flexible, you learn to adapt, and you learn to be more open with those around you, I would say.
Flexible, adaptive, open. Yeah. I mean, in FEMBA, people like, well, what's FEMBA like? I'm like, well, it's like a moonlighting MBA. You take a perfectly legitimate, solid, pre-established life with family, friends, and career. And then you layer on 20 plus extra hours of intense work per week.
Mm-hmm. And, I don't think you can really explain it to anybody. You really have to just do it because, I had a friend who did the full-time MBA and I never understood why she was always unavailable in the evenings, every evening, Monday through Sunday. I was like, what are you doing? Why can't we hang out anymore? Right. Yep. And then I got to the MBA and I said, oh, okay. So it's a combination of recruiting. If you want to pursue recruiting, it's a combination of happy hours and Anderson afternoons, which of course during COVID we didn't have anymore, but you want to network with your peers, you want to meet them and, hear different stories like mine, like Derek's, like Ben's and everybody else, and you want to go to events, whether that be FEMBA Palooza or it be love FEMBA Palooza or it be
gotta bring that back. Oh, we're so
yeah,
anyway.
I can't wait. Please invite me.
Or you will.
Or it be, a speaker that you saw was going to be there because you're a member of a club and they're bringing somebody in from Disney or from wherever. And it really is like another job. It's school, of course. So, it's going to be a lot of work, but in addition to going to class, in addition to doing your homework, it's not just your homework, it's your team's homework. So it's another project you're working on with a new team. It's not your family team. It's not your work, real job work team. It's your school team. And they're just as important because they rely on you, you rely on them. And so scheduling all of those things, especially as a FEMBA, is crazy. And it takes away from your other activities in life, whether that be family or work or your own general hobbies or your own, sit on the couch Friday night and mask up. No, you're writing a paper. So, yeah.
Well, we're into the MBA, but let me just ask one out of sequence question. So like, when did you get the MBA bug? Because it's kind of cool. Like, we haven't talked about, Maxine Hupy, CEO, founder, consultant, and your other entrepreneurial, Ballet Beachbody. But I mean, like, you weren't just sitting around in LA. You've been here 9-10 years, but you've been busy. So right. You were enjoying success in your chosen field at a global level. And yet something said, oh, there's more and I could invest in me. I mean, you said earlier, you're a nerd. We love, bring us, you're tired, you're poor, you're nerds. That's UCLA. I always think we're like cool nerds. Like that's our thing. You know, we're smart. We're a bunch of smart folks and we have personality, right? And that's our little, that's our lane. High achieving smart nerds, but it's a big investment of time and money and effort in a very full life. So what was just to go back one step, like the pre-MBA, what was your thinking?
Yeah. So I mentioned I was touring with CeeLo. I went on and toured with 2 other artists. And during that time, social media was becoming a really big thing. Instagram was blowing up. And at that time, I was using social media as a way to showcase my work. And it was basically a portfolio for me. And I was using it, like a job. It was my other job. And that, I say that because it helps explain the transition. So while I was doing that as my portfolio, I also realized I wanted to transition in the entertainment industry into more of production, choreography, kind of getting on the other side of camera. And I had previous production experience in Chicago with Northwestern on a smaller scale, of course. And as I was doing these tours and networking with the different clients, all the clients who were involved, it's not just, CeeLo and his management. We go internationally. I did various award shows. You meet everybody who's there, right? MTV, yada, yada, yada. And so, making those connections, meeting new people, I slowly got pulled into different projects. So as a choreographer, then I kind of helped with production. And so I said, okay, I want to do more of this because, as I mentioned earlier, I've been injured many times. You can't dance forever. I mean, yes, you can, but not professionally, right? You can dance for fun in your living room or, at the social club, whatever.
Just hard to make a living.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew I was getting older. They're the fresh boat of 18-year-olds who come every summer and hang out and hope to stay and take your jobs, whatever.
Hi, I'm here to replace you.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I wanted something different. And I started working on my own, developing my own, brand and business. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was consulting. And I say that because when I came into Anderson, I was like, consulting, I don't want to do that. Not realizing that I was already doing that because I had clients, different technology clients, entertainment clients, and I was working with, the head people. And so as I was trying to develop my business, I said, I really want to grow this. I want to do something bigger. And while I have the contacts, I don't necessarily have the business skills. And I have been running my own business, my own brand, but I never really developed those formal skills, right? I learned them on the job. And you mentioned Ballet Beachbody. That's a fitness program that I started. I was in a lot of fitness videos. So if you're watching this and you recognize my face, chances are we worked out together.
Sorry, I stepped all over you. I'm sorry. I stepped all over you. Please say
No, that's okay. It's funny. Sometimes I have people come up to me or on social media. They'll say, hey, were you in this? You look familiar. I just did this workout video. Is that you? Yeah, it was me. Which is like, I don't have any photos from that. I should have brought those up, but
we can show your website if you want. But when I stepped over your line, I'm so sorry. I was just because I had gone on your website and I saw the three. I was telling you the 3-minute arms, and you're so. It's like I get kind of what you were talking about. Like I'm an ignorant, right? I two-step. I'm a country and Western Texas dancer, so I know nothing about high levels of dance. But you can recognize art when you see art, and you don't even know why you recognize it. But your posture's so perfect, and your arms are they just flip, and it's different than like a sweaty person leading an aerobics video. It's a whole other thing, and it's like, wow, that took like 12 years of intense training to be able to stand like that and go flip, and it's so effortless. Like that's. I love, it's like one of the things I heard in my MBA was when you become a manager, when you become CEO of your own life, you can't be good at everything. You have to be able to recognize excellence And the way the dean told us, he said, pursue something, doesn't matter what it is. It can make money or it can be a hobby, but pursue excellence in something only so that you can respect excellence when you see it in others. Kind of like your point. I love how you said, almost perfect is okay. You'll never get perfection. You strive, you get to almost perfect, and it's labeled, oh, that was okay. We'll keep you around.
Yeah.
But at least you then can see excellence in others. Oh my God, she's an amazing clarinet player. Oh my God, he's really great with financial modeling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just love that about watching a 2-minute video of you as I was getting ready for this interview, going, look at that. And she had all this going on. She could have stuck with that, but she chose to go get an MBA. So I can't wait to hear why she did that. So here we are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so I wanted to do more, and I felt like I was in a place where I needed the skills, the formal business skills, in order to move to that next step and that next level. But by the way, the Ballet Beachbody videos are quite popular at Anderson because I started before the pandemic, started teaching on campus because everybody was asking me to. So I did some fun classes. And then during COVID, when it first started, we had a Friday night fitness
That's
class.
right. Yeah, you guys did that.
We did that, and I taught a few times. That was fun because I like to bring in kind of like techno music with my workouts, but then it's all the movements are based on the ballet muscles and ballet movements. So, you're not going to be doing deep squats with heavy weights. There's no equipment. You're using all the tiny muscles that you maybe didn't know you had.
But I bet you make them soar with your
Yeah.
attendees.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
You will know my name tomorrow.
You won't forget me. That's for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So now we're in Anderson Leadership Foundations. For those of you who don't know, that's our orientation. So, take us. Yeah. Oh, well, let's see what you got.
Okay. Well, before that, I also want to say that I looked at Anderson and chose Anderson because, I did want to stay in LA, but also I wanted a school that had a very strong entrepreneurial program because as an entrepreneur myself, something I wrote about in my essay actually was about the BCO program, which is the business creation option. For those of you who are new to the many acronyms we have here, BCO, that was something I really wanted to do. And one of the reasons I went to Anderson. And so let me quickly show you my leadership foundations. Here we go. Yes. These are some of the professional shots I found. And there's a picture I have of with Derek where we're high-fiving. I should have added in. I'll send that to you afterwards. It's really fun. But on the left, what is from, oh my gosh, I don't even know how tall it was. I'm going to say 20 feet in the air because that's what it felt like at least.
It's at least, the pole. It's
the pole, the jumping off the pole.
It might be taller than that. I mean, it's intense.
That was scary. That was scary. My legs were shaking. I was like, I can do this. No big deal. It was scary.
That's interesting. So you who have lived in your body consciously, probably more than, 99 out of 100 people, it was even intense for you.
Yes.
And
I didn't think it would be.
Yeah. That's
what disappointed me the most, that I was nervous.
Well, our bodies have their own intelligence, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But that was really fun. And hopefully the incoming class will get to experience something like this eventually.
Oh my God. Yeah. Fingers crossed. That's all the meetings are about. It's like, good. Well, commencement for you guys, how, and, cause it seems like it's coming, modified in its wacky COVID way, but more than we had last year. And then where are we going to be at the end of the summer? So those are dominating all the staff and faculty meetings right now.
Sure. I'm sure. Oh goodness. Well, I hope that they get something like this because that was amazing. And then on the right is also from Leadership Foundations. I don't know who I'm saying hello to. I don't know what we are talking about, but you can see that I'm very excited to see somebody. And that, I think, just, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And this was my general feeling throughout
Oh,
Leadership Foundations and the program, because it's just always been exciting, and you meet somebody new every day.
yeah.
And before COVID, I was talking earlier about the different events you go to on campus, the happy hours. Well, happy hours usually off campus, but Anderson afternoons on campus. And I loved that because I'm the type of person who will go up to a random table of people I don't know and say, "Hi, I'm Maxine. Who are you? Let's meet." Because that's kind of the point of business school, is to network with
Oh,
everybody, hear everyone's story, figure out why they're there, what they're doing, where they're going, why they're going there. And when I first came to Anderson, I knew I wanted to learn the skills. I knew I wanted to pursue the entrepreneurship track, but I didn't really know. And I knew I wanted to, enter more of the corporate world.
mhm.
I didn't know exactly what that looked like. I thought it would be in entertainment, maybe in a marketing role, because that's what I knew. That's what I had been doing previously. The consulting I was doing was marketing consulting.
Mhm.
And so I wasn't sure. And so, these events on campus and Leadership Foundations was a great place to meet people, hear about what they did. That's what's great about the FEMBAs, is they work everywhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're considering a company, cool. At least one, probably five of your classmates works there, can tell you exactly what to expect, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And I love, like my earlier question, like, what do you think you gave to your classmates? Well, maybe the CeeLo, like living with a random assortment of professional peers who are now my traveling family for 2 years. What do you develop from that? High levels of, what did you said, flexibility, adaptability, and something else. But also, who's the person who walks up to the table and says, "Hi, what's your name?" Right? Like teams need a spark person, right? So it's like I could hope in admissions decisions, like, we need more dancers, right? We need more people who see the world from a physical starting point versus an intellectual starting point, who understand the business of entertainment. I mean, like, it's huge. Like, what did COVID teach us? Oh my God, we need entertainment, right?
Yeah.
We need more, and it needs to be decent. It can't just be the same old, and tell me a story. And so I love that. That's great. So, okay. So what else during Anderson? So first year, how did you get through your first year? What section? You were section 3, I think.
Section 3. So I was Tuesday, Thursday. I really wanted to be on campus twice a week. I'm not an all-day Saturday person. So much so, and this is fast forwarding a little bit, but for consulting recruiting, once I decided to go through with that was second year. It was recommended and almost required that we switch to the Saturday section in order to do recruiting. And I was the only person who did not switch.
Oh, but you made it work. Kind of.
I had amazing professors who were extremely understanding, very flexible, and also taught on Saturday, so I could make up the classes when I needed to. Would I do it the same way again? Yes, because I do not like the all-day Saturday class.
Just not your rhythm.
I can't sit still that long.
Ah,
I think
yeah,
it's the dancer in me. I need to get up and move.
yeah. I mean, all day Saturday, the pro is it's only one trip to campus, but the con is it's like a 6th workday with 7 hours of rigorous intellectual endeavor. I mean, I don't know, like, you got to be so intellectually tired, because to do class A in the morning, hour and a half break, and then class B in the afternoon. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday, yeah, you get to rest your brain and move your body in between the lessons. So, and then for those, just to tell people who are listening, well, what's the concern? If you do on-campus recruiting, which is awesome, and FEMBAs have access to, a lot of the corporate events are during the evening. So the strong recommendation is free up your evening, move yourself into the all-day Saturday schedule. So you were modifying that. You were not following that advice, for your own, but you're listening to your North Star, which we all have to do.
Right.
So, and you had, you partnered with the faculty to ask for flexibility, and you still were successful. Well, okay, your story, keep going.
No, yeah. So that worked out. So what we were talking about first year, I remember, and this is something that when you ask me at the end, which I'm sure you will, what I recommend for the incoming class. I remember the one thing every single person said was go to happy hour. I was like, oh, come on. What's the big deal of happy hour? And I am not like, I don't really drink at all. So for me, happy hour is like, ugh, it's just everyone's getting drunk. Some people are, some people aren't. Like so much, let me just back up. In college, I was the risk manager for my sorority, which meant I went sober to every event and monitored those who had too much to drink, and I would send them home in a cab. Okay, that's who I am. My nickname is Mama.
Aw.
Okay, Mama Maxine is
Aw.
here.
That's cool.
So
And you weren't, you said no to social choices in high school even because of your training schedule.
yes,
You said earlier. So that's like part of how you've lived your life, right? And now everybody's saying, go be an alcoholic.
no.
Which is no, I redact that. No one said go be an alcoholic. They said go to happy hour. The languaging is participate in happy hour, but you heard it like your interpretation was, well, isn't that just excess or something, possibly not a great use of my time? I'm a person whose body is a temple or whatever, not your thing.
Right.
And yet, so what happened when you followed this advice to go to happy hour? Let me say it in the language of the vernacular.
So yes, going to happy hour is not just about the beverage you have in your hand, right? It's about meeting your classmates. It's about networking. And again, it's, you have to think of business school as an opportunity to build your skill set, career switch if that's what you're looking to do, and also to, build your network.
Yeah.
And so these events are really important because this is how you build your network. And this is where people feel, more relaxed, whether it be because of the drink in their hand or just because you're not, raising your hand and trying to get participation points and answering questions in class. And so I highly recommend going to happy hour, which is what I did. I also went to as many Anderson afternoons as possible. And that's on Thursday night. For the full-timers, it was after they were done with classes. For us, it was before our classes. So it was a nice time to mingle with the FEMBAs and the full-timers.
Yeah.
And I found it really interesting to hear stories from both classes because they were going, getting their MBA for different reasons and had different career histories and career future paths, which were inspiring and interesting to hear. And also, some of the full-timers are my close friends. They've graduated, they started businesses. I'm, supporting their businesses, or we just chat generally about work, life, whatever. But that's where I met some of my closest friends, I would say.
Really?
And on top of that, there's
Yep.
free food that you can bring to class.
then there's that. Yeah. People say, how do you justify the cost of business school? Drink and eat a lot of the freebies. And then, it lowers the price of attendance. But now, so full-timers 2-year path, we're a 2.5 to 3-year path. So they graduated last year. When you say you support some of your full-time friends who became some of your best friends, was that you supporting them as a consultant, or how did you support their business endeavors?
Yeah. So as a consultant, so I spoke a little bit about Instagram earlier. You mentioned that I'm a social media influencer. So I promote some of their products on my page, buy their products when they're available in stores, things like that.
Oh, how cool. Yes.
Yeah. Always support your friends, buy their products, like their pages, comment.
Yeah. And just to underline that, always support your friends. It's like, you so have to remember, like, business school is not just right now. Like, it's like, pay it forward, like give somebody something that's your expertise for fun and for free during business school, plant that seed of reciprocity, and God knows what it might grow into 5, 10, and 20 years from now. Because I'm almost 20 years here, Maxine. And I go and I go on LinkedIn and it is amazing. Like, oh my God, I remember her from FEMBA Council, and now she just got promoted VP at Disney. Right? So, it is the net present value of my social capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not only becoming a bigger, more capable version of my own capacity, but so is everyone around me, like as a cohort, and the through time synergies and opportunities of that. That's like, we throw networking around like we know what that means. It's a buzzword, but when you really slow down and, well, what is networking? Is it just knowing someone, or is it appreciating someone and knowing what their gifts are and knowing how their gifts bring out your gifts, and consciously like, yeah, I'll up your stuff. That's great. I look at it, I can own it. I'll share it to my world, and wow.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know who you're going to meet and where they're going, how you can help them potentially, how they can help you potentially. And it's not always about how you're going to help each other, but it's, you might hear something from their story, from their background, that sparks something in you, whether that, be something that will inspire you to do more, or whether that just, gives you an idea for, your BCO project or whatever else you're working on. There's a book my dad gave me many years ago that's called Networking is a Contact Sport. I don't remember the author, but I love that phrase. Networking is a contact sport. And it's important, but it's not always about what you're going to do for me, what I'm going to do for you. It's about making genuine connections. And the thing that you might do for somebody or they might do for you would be, a Saturday afternoon coffee to catch up because you feel lonely. It's COVID and they happen to be living in your area. You know what I mean? It's not always about the next job prospect.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And yeah, being willing to offer help, being willing to receive help. I've got my story, the two women who got me through my first year, Monica Ritchie got me through stats.
I remember that.
Yep.
I found my Monica. I found my Monica, by the way.
Oh, who's your Monica, if I can ask?
Richie was my Monica.
Oh,
Richie was, well, I had a couple Monicas, but Richie was one of my Monicas, and Richie was in my my learning team from LF through however long we had that first learning team, and he was in my BCO team.
This is Richie Chang?
Yes.
Oh.
And what's fun is that my my Anderson journey started with my LF team and ended with an almost whole version of my LF team. There's one person that was swapped out. But it was really cool to have that kind of full circle experience.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun. I love
Sorry,
that.
you were saying you had Monica for stats.
Oh, no. And Kim Arnold got me through accounting, but I had, undergrad was easy for me. I was a history major, because I got out of engineering after I realized it was all math, right? So I was a chicken. I took a major that was easy for me in undergrad. I was not used to asking for help. And I was only 2 years out of undergrad. So I was just young. I had not toured the world with CeeLo for 2 years. No, hadn't happened. I'd been in my little bubble with my little College Station, girlfriend of the quarter semester, I just hadn't done anything yet. And Chicago, I think part of why I love working in education is my MBA was not pleasant experientially. It was challenging and it grew me, but I had no discipline, right? I was used to like, whatever I can do that I'll be good at with the minimum amount of effort. That's how I surveyed the landscape. And that's not a long-term success recipe, and I was not open to mentoring. I just didn't know how to. I was getting a degree in management and I didn't know how to work with people at one level professionally. I'd been in the Corps of Cadets at A&M, this and that. But what I love about these stories, you taking the time, Maxine, to share your success, I want the class that follows you to win. And FEMBA, it seems like the stakes are so much higher because people are not 18. They're like 30 on average walking in the door. And a third of them are married. They got people who depend on them at work and in their personal lives. And, the learning curve, I think, at Anderson's pretty tough in all our programs. It goes from 0 to 100 miles an hour, like instantly. So, I want these stories that you're so generously sharing. I want these to, this summer, I want the next year class, like, okay, what can I do to get ready? How do I prepare myself now? Look what's she telling me? She walks up to people at the table. Hi, I'm Maxine. She's, learning to notice when someone's lonely and proactively take them out for a coffee, right? Like any of us can do these little things. Like we can adopt our own management style, like our own approach to, like, how do you, when everybody's awesome, how do you stand out without being annoying? Right.
Right.
Well, that's what CEO level people learn to do. How do I operate at the C-suite of human potentiality? Right. Well, I have to have my own competency for sure. I have to be able to appreciate and respect competency in others. I have to play well in the sandbox. There are times to speak my mind, but I can say what I mean without being mean. All those, we can agree to disagree agreeably, like all those kind of diamonds, polished diamonds types of MBA learning by doing, right? And now I think one of the reasons consulting is one of the premier destinations is it's kind of like your thing about, well, I didn't go to New York because I wasn't quite the singer, right? You got to be a triple threat in a consulting role. You got to walk in with the intellectual ability, the human ability, and then the gut level confidence, right? You have to bring a full humanity to be successful, because you're going to walk into somebody else's garden and respectfully say, you know what you've been doing for 20 years, here's a different way to do it that would be better. And they have to be able to hear you and respect you, right? So your idea's got to be right. Your human gracefulness needs to be professional, but you gotta, it's gut check time. Maxine's walking in the room.
Right.
With her PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Look out, world. I got my PowerPoint.
Hopefully my PowerPoint skills will be better soon.
Yeah. So I apologize for the sermonette, except I don't apologize. I'm just trying to connect dots, really specifically talking to future Anderson folks with a commitment that their onboarding be quick and effective and as pain-free as possible. Because Anderson moves so quickly, don't suffer, right? Get your house in order, surrender to the journey, like fully participate. Just that thing about, people critique you for everything and your response is always thank you. Like, that's amazing. Like I was so the opposite of that. Like me as in my own human development journey, right? Like if you criticize me, that means you don't like me. That means you're mean. That means I don't want to talk to you anymore. Well, there you just lost a coach, Dylan. You silly. You just made your world smaller by not being open to receiving feedback. And, by contrast, I serve you up as, hello world, look at Maxine. Look how it's going for her.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, you don't always gracefully accept feedback. You try to, even talking about it today, I'm reflecting on, this week when somebody gave me feedback, did I say thank you in my head and actually listen to it or not? But it's something to, put in your head, whether you have taken a dance class, you were a ballet dancer or not. I think it's something interesting. Not all criticism that you receive obviously is constructive, of course. Right. So the constructive criticism, you want to say thank you, even if you don't say it out loud in your head, say thank you. How do I use this to better myself? How do I use this to move forward? How do I use this to redo or recreate or transform what I'm doing and use it to go where I want to go, I would say. And just kind of talking about Anderson going from 0 to 100 in like a split second. I think that's true, but I also don't want to scare people into thinking that it's going to be this high intensive, scary thing, because it's high intensive, but it shouldn't be scary because, in accounting, I had classmates who were accountants. Right. I had no idea what was going on. And for me, I had no idea what was going on for a majority of the quarter. It was not until right before the final that something in my head clicked. The professor said something in just a slightly different way than he had been saying it all quarter, apparently. And for me, it finally clicked. I ended up getting an A in the class. How? I don't know, because I was struggling. I didn't understand what was going on, honestly. It was the absolute value, the change in, is it negative? Is it positive? I was baffled for a long time. but you have to find your Monica, right? So if you are struggling, I had never taken stats before. That was class number 1. In ballet, we count to 8. We count up to the number 8 because we count music. So going from the dance world, into stats, we're running regressions. I didn't know what a regression was. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was scary. It was hard, but it was worth it. Right. I learned a lot. I can't spit out, if you gave me the final right now, I would likely not do very well on it because that was 3 years ago. But, you learn from it. You learn to work with your classmates. You find your own teachers. And, I think that's what you're meant to do moving forward. When you're in a workplace or not in the workplace with your family or your friends, and you don't know how to do something, don't be embarrassed, just ask. And, there are definitely people that you'll have in your class that will raise their hand and ask a question every time. And there are other people who are embarrassed to ask a question. And I sometimes find myself to be shy, about asking a question because I feel like I should know that, but that's not true. And I would say to everybody watching this who's coming in, don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed because everyone is in the same boat, whether they're an accountant or a dancer, it doesn't matter because you're all going to eventually be in a class where you don't know something. And it's better to be the dumbest person in the room and learn from everyone around you. And I say dumbest, air quotes, nobody here's dumb, but I've certainly felt, like the dumb person in the class. But that's better because you have, more to grow into. If you're always the smartest person in the room, you're already at the ceiling. Where do you go from there?
Right.
And so,
yeah,
you just going back to ballet, you want to get those critiques. You want to be told no, or you want to be told you could do it better if you did it like this, because then there's room to grow. Then, somebody cares, somebody's paying attention. And if you're not getting that attention, then go seek it. Ask the professor, ask the TA, ask your classmates, whatever it is. Because the point, of getting the MBA is to learn and to better yourself. And if you don't feel like you're doing that, then you have to seek it out yourself. Just like, you applied, you signed up, you paid, you're here. You don't want to just sit here. What's the point? Right?
I appreciate you polishing the point I was trying to make. Yeah, because I don't want to scare anybody for sure. Right. Yeah, that's it, the 0 to 100. And that's and we have this summer, right? Like these are precious months of preparation. Get your laptop ready to go. Where are you going to study? Do you have roommates? Do you have your designated space? Right. Like just, like get your, the John Wooden quote, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Like what can we do? Athletes warm up before the game starts, right? So how do I warm up for my MBA is what I didn't want to make it too scary. Thank you for refining that a lot. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get to talk to you all day. I have my lightning round of questions at the end, so I need to save about. Yeah, so no, we're not done. I want to make sure we get the main components said that you want to. Yeah. So this is just kind of as we're coming around the final turn, I want to make sure we get the elements of your story out there. So yeah, where do we go from here?
Yes. Okay. So let me briefly touch on recruiting and then let me go into BCO, if that's okay.
Perfect. Let's do recruiting and BCO.
So what I want to say about recruiting is not everybody in the FEMBA program thinks they want a career switch, and that's totally fine. Right. However, I highly recommend that everybody go through the OCR process in order to have the opportunity to change your mind. Because from what I remember, I had to do OCR in my first year in order to be allowed to recruit in my second year.
An acronym, check, OCR, on-campus recruiting. Right. So,
yes. Yeah. That's something I recommend to everybody. I learned so much during recruiting. I learned for management consulting. I don't know how the other recruiting is because I didn't participate in it, but I imagine it's similar. you have a team that trains you in how to interview for that specific job. So it was interesting because at the time I was in strategy and operations while I was applying for a strategy and operations consulting job. And so the combination of taking strategy and operations, the two separate classes, while learning how to do a case for strategy and operation, for a strategy and operations position, was great to tie everything together. This is unique to the FEMBA program because the full-timers take it after recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we, in a sense, have a leg up in understanding what's going on. But I learned a lot in how to approach these case studies and different problems. And I also learned a lot about interviewing and how to present yourself. And also you do a ton of networking. So even if you don't want the job, it might be worth doing to network because you meet so many people at these recruiting events. And then the other thing that everybody said when we first started was trust the process. And that's something that I tell everybody who asks me about recruiting as well, because the Anderson team has a very structured process for recruiting. And we have to do this fast math. I mentioned earlier, in ballet, we count up to 8. Now I'm in an interview, I have to take 1,000,000 and 100,000 and billion and the decimal and the half and the percent and what's the NPV? I don't know. So
I'm going to be a senior consultant. I'm going to have people under me who are going to run the numbers.
I know. The analyst will do it. I don't know. And you're not allowed to use a calculator, which, between you and me and everyone listening, I still think is unrealistic. When are you not going to have a calculator? But anyway, so yes, everybody says, trust the process. Just like everybody says, go to happy hour. If everyone is saying it, I generally say don't listen, but in this particular case, I say listen.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I grew a lot through recruiting. Not just with the skills that I learned, but also, with the people I was working with, because we went through something together that other people did not experience. Just like case competitions, screen share, dun, 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 fingers crossed. Yes. Okay. On the right-hand side, this is post-case competition. We didn't win, but my team and I dedicated many hours to solving a problem. I highly recommend that everybody participates in at least one case competition, even if you're not going into consulting. I think it's a really fun time. It's a stressful time as well, but you get to work with potentially a new team if you haven't, if you don't work with your Leadership Foundations team or your learning team. I recommend, mixing it up just so you have the opportunity to work with new people. Throughout my time at Anderson, I found that working with new people was eye-opening because, first of all, you want to learn to work with different types of people, different personalities. I mentioned one person on my team and I had total opposite reactions to the same problem and reactions that did not mesh well together. So we had to work through that, but it teaches you very, very quickly how to work with new people, how to adapt and be flexible. And so that's just my spiel on working with new teams and recommending the case comp. And then on the left side is a picture from my first day of school, I think my second year. And I just thought it was a fun picture, had to share the Anderson steps. I know we have new steps now, but if anyone's looking for the money shot, this is the money shot, in my personal opinion.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, we always, a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
And look at you just before you leave the picture, right? Like to everybody, like, this is your story, capture it on film, honor those moments, right? Like first day of year 2, end of the case comp. Was it end of case competition or end of BCO? The
end of case comp. I have a BCO picture as well. Don't worry.
Yeah. Like it's you're the hero of your story, right? Like each and every one of us, right? Nobody else is going to write our script. This is a chance to be, the main actor and the producer and the director, if we're going to go with the Hollywood metaphor.
Yeah.
Or if we do the business metaphor, you're CEO of your MBA. You get to call the shot, right? Your group mates are your board of advisors, your faculty are on your board, right? You get to be short-term tactical and long-term strategic with the choices that you make, and have fun with it, right? It's fun to be in charge of something. You're in charge of your graduate education. It's not undergrad where la, 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 I'll go to undergrad, why? Because all my friends are going to undergrad. Anderson's different. People choose to be here. People with big options choose to spend the time and money to do this. Those are, pictures worth 1,000 words. Well chosen. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And just to add on to that, I would say that, I chose Anderson for a variety of reasons. I wanted to be in LA. I wanted to pursue the entrepreneurship track, which I will cover in a moment, but also something that I liked about Anderson is how collaborative it was. I'm from the Midwest where everybody's nice. Everybody smiles at you. They ask you if you need help, if you look lost or anything like that. And so, I think that's something I also brought to the table, both literally and figuratively, me going up to a table of people I don't know. Hey, I'm Maxine. Who are you? Right. Not everyone is going to do that, but a Midwesterner will. And so, that's something that I really loved about Anderson is, the shared success is really true. Yes, you're competing, to get the job or whatever. But we have grade non-disclosure, so you're really not in that sense. But everybody wants to help everybody as far as I have seen, and pay it forward and, work together. And while, my classmates and I who were going through recruiting, were all applying to the same places. We were applying to those places for different reasons, I would say. And some of us ended up at the same place. Some of us ended up in different places. Some of us ended up in a different arena, and that's okay. And that's what it's all about, because when you work together and you listen to other people's stories, you hear why they want to do that career, why they're in that career or what have you, then you say, oh, well, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to do that. And that's kind of the amazing thing about the openness of this school, and the ability to connect with people and hear honest stories and hear honest opinions and hear, to see that they really want to help you. And if you ask for help, you will get the help. If you ask the question, you will get the answer.
Yeah. So. The people, to underline your point, the people that were training you on how to do case competition interviews, the majority of them were students a year ahead of you, right?
Yeah, they were all students. Yeah, they brought in some coaches, but I learned the most from the students. And then we, worked with each other, the people going through it. We trained each other.
So these are people who already were successful in winning the game of getting the plum gig, and they could have just taken their prizes and left the field, but they were paying it forward to you, the next generation, right?
Exactly. And then I did the same thing. So I cased with people. I helped them with their interviews. I said, don't say that. Or do say this. I'm very blunt about you ask me those questions, I'll be very blunt.
And that's the best kind of coach. You never want to have to try to interpret what the coach means, right? You want to just trust the coach. If you tell me to do this, my jump shot will improve. Okay, I'll do that.
Right. Well, and because again, going back to ballet, that's how I was taught. If you want to hit a triple instead of just a double, you need to close your arm faster, or you need to push harder, or you need to spot faster. You need to wear your bun high instead of low. Try that. You know what I mean? All these things, it changes the game. So, or it changes the outcome. The game doesn't change, the outcome changes. Okay, let me go to one more slide.
We're going to BCO, or is this recruiting?
BCO. This is my team. Woo, woo, woo.
All right. Who are we seeing here? Who's on your team? Oh, there's Richie.
Richie is next to me. So Gabby is on the right, then Richie, then I'm in the center, Adam and Joanna. So Richie, Adam, Joanna, and I were in leadership foundations together. We were in a learning team together for a long time. I don't remember how long. I think it was 2 quarters or 3. And then Joanna, Gabby, and I were in a learning team together for 2 quarters. And then Richie and I TA'd a class together. And we're all just friends now. Well, we were friends from the beginning, but what's amazing is that, you know, and we were all in the same section as well. So even though Gabby was not in leadership foundations with us, she was in leadership foundations, but not in our group. We were all together from the beginning and we all finished together, which I think was so cool. Also, we launched the business. It's called Creative Juice. I actually have one of these boxes here. I was going to use it to prop my computer, but then it was too high. I'll just show you. Creative Juice.
Oh, I saw this online too. So you
Yes.
get like an artistic box in the mail, or tell me about it.
So I promised I'd circle back to my brother. So I told you we grew up dancing ballet together. And he is now a stressed out M&A lawyer in New York City, sleeps under his desk. Well, now he sleeps, you know, like on the couch next to his desk.
Ooh, upgrade.
COVID. But about 2 years ago, he started painting and it really helped him alleviate his stress and anxiety. And I thought to myself, there has to be a way to pass this same benefit on to other people like him, because there's so many people like him. I mean, even if you just look at the FEMBA program, I think everybody applies, you know, for our demographic of burnt out, stressed out, busy young professional, right? Mm-hmm. And so Creative Juice was born, and it is a creativity subscription box where you receive 4 different creative activities that will help alleviate your stress and anxiety by just simply doing these activities. And we have 5 different pillars: move, relax, think, create, and learn. And you will get 4 of those pillars in your box.
Move,
so
relax.
We took this. So I started this in EVI with actually a totally different group. Derek was in my group, actually. And then went to BPD, which is when Gabby joined. And then from BPD to BCO, these are the 3, EVI and BPD are the 2 classes that you have to take in order to get into BCO, business creation option. This is the entrepreneurship track that I mentioned earlier. EVI, entrepreneurship venture initiative, something.
Yeah, acronym soup. Yes, it'll all be made clear later. Trust us.
Yeah, BPD, business plan development, BCO, business creation option. And the BCO project, we did this instead of GAP. So this is our thesis.
Right. And
it was really cool to see it grow from an idea to help my brother on his couch in New York to actually launching. So we launched it in December and we sold boxes and we shipped them all over the country, some actually to Canada. And, you know, more than launching, it was really an amazing experience to work with these same people who, you know, we struggled through, well, maybe Richie didn't, but through stats together and to, you know, use our different backgrounds to make something happen. And during COVID, you know, we had to get really creative, really flexible, because part of this journey is you have to do testing with potential consumers. And normally, you know, you do test groups where you have people in a room and you observe them and all that kind of stuff. And we didn't have that as an option. So, I should have included these photos, but I was putting test baggies together with different activities. You know, I had Ziploc bags that I was driving all around the city. Sometimes I would drop some off to Joanna and she would go a little further north. Gabby was in Hawaii for a lot of this project, so she was on a different time zone, and Adam had a baby. And so it was just, we had everything going on all at the same time and we made it work. And it was definitely the highlight of my Anderson experience, I would say, especially because of the people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, you had an adventure.
Oh
You
my
had an
God, we
adventure.
had a huge adventure.
Yeah.
And what they told us in the beginning was, you're already behind. Oh, it's kickoff day. How are we already behind? Oh, and kickoff day was, several hours on Zoom on my birthday last year.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, oh, this is my birthday party with, all my Anderson friends. But they said, yeah, you're already behind. I said,
Well, it
well, what do you
looks,
mean? What do you mean? We were always a step behind. But that was kind of the beauty of it, because in entrepreneurship, you're always a step, at least a step behind, right?
mm-hmm.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And then you find out you didn't know that.
That would have been helpful had we known that sooner.
Mm-hmm.
What was something you found out that you didn't know?
Oh my gosh, a million things. One being that supply chains were going to be extremely, extremely behind due to COVID.
Yeah.
We had Mod Podge was one of the things that we had in our box, and our supplier said, we have that, it's coming next week. Next week came, they didn't have it. Oh, we're not going to get it for a month. Okay, that's fine. I was planning to do product shots so that we could put marketing materials out right around Halloween. We didn't get marketing materials out until Thanksgiving or something ridiculous like that.
Wow.
So we were way behind. I mean, for a holiday product, you should already be, promoting latest Halloween. All of your marketing materials and everything should be in the bag in September, right? We didn't even have the suppliers in September because we had to, well, in order to use these major suppliers, you have to have an LLC already formed and already dealt with, and you had to have the business name and account and this and that, and we didn't have all of that because we were running everything out of my apartment, which at the time also my dishwasher leaked to my neighbor, so I had to pull everything out of my kitchen. I had these huge fans going. Richie came over at one point and I was like, do you want to go into the sauna? He said, you have a sauna here? I said, yes, it's my kitchen. Because they enclosed it, zipped it, had these huge commercial fans go. It was insane. So, we were always behind, but we were told we were behind. So we knew we couldn't really complain about it. Right.
Okay. Yeah. You were told on your birthday. Happy
No,
birthday, Maxine.
Yeah.
We're going to blow up your kitchen. You're already behind. Enjoy.
Yeah. Well, and we were one of the only teams that actually launched during BCO. That's not the norm. The norm is that, you present the business that you will launch later. But I made it very clear to my team before everybody signed up officially that I wanted to launch in December for the holidays. And as soon as they were on board, we were all on board. And throughout the process, we did, we had ebbs and flows of the amount of work everybody was doing. And so we switched that off. And we also had, semi-heated debates on how many products we should actually have in stock, because it's all being stored in my apartment and I'm okay with it, but is everyone okay with their sales goals and meeting them and this and that? And so we, while we were all friends, we had some heated debates.
Yeah. Yeah. We're also smart people with different points of view.
Exactly. And different risk tolerance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Former risk manager of sorority.
Yes. I think I had the highest risk tolerance of anyone, actually.
Look at that.
I know. I've made strides. Yeah.
And did your brother get a box?
He did get a box.
What did he say?
He liked it, although I don't know how much of it he has actually done, if I'm being honest, because
Okay.
he is so busy. That man. I was gonna
Yeah.
call him boy, but I guess he's a man. He just turned 30.
Yes. Yes. The Hupy kids, they don't mess around. All
Yeah.
right. Well, okay. So, we're looking ahead, or any other slides you want to share?
I think I just had my headshot just for fun. Hello.
It's me. Everybody, the bricks, everybody, when do we get to take our headshots, right? We
Famous
have to,
headshot.
we got to get the 23 and the 24 headshots done, because,
Oh,
well,
yeah,
the 23s haven't technically really, I
they're
mean, just
great. Oh, and there's thinking the next. Okay.
yay. Well, so, the so what, now what? Like, what an amazing accomplishment. Thank you for sharing your journey, before and during. And now, like Deloitte, and you go in September, strategy and operations umbrella, senior consultant, one of 12. Congratulations, Anderson graduates off to Deloitte. So, so my question is, how do you evaluate the ROI of your MBA from where you sit now, looking forward towards commencement, looking forward towards this big step forward in your career? How do you, Maxine, evaluate, what's your answer to, is it worth it? What's the ROI of your MBA?
Well, first, I would definitely say it's worth it. I'm coming out obviously with a new career. So that's the goal for a lot of people. So, of course, that's a way to measure the ROI. But I would also measure it on the skills that I've developed. And those include the many financial skills that I didn't know I needed. No, but in all seriousness, all of the business skills that you learn, not just, the finance and the marketing, but it's also in the people skills you learn. So I mentioned in recruiting, I learned a different way to interview. Before business school, my interview was an audition. I didn't talk. I danced. I maybe got to say my name and my height. Hopefully, and like fingers crossed they didn't ask me my age, That was my interview before business school.
Wow.
Of course, I interviewed for business school. Of course, I interviewed for undergrad, and I had been in that before, but nothing like management consulting, right? But also, how to deal with a new team. I every single job that I've done in entertainment, I have a brand new team for the most part. So I was pretty good, with managing teams and with I don't want to say dealing with teams, but having discussions and interacting with teams. But this is a different level because everybody is at such a high level in their career and is a high performing individual that you naturally will butt heads because everybody has a strong opinion, but it's the way that you're able to really communicate and work through that with your team that is something that's very valuable and something you deal with in business school all the time. So, the business skills and the people skills. Then I would say the relationships that you develop. And outside of butting heads, you go to happy hour and you jump off tall, 20-foot poles at LF and, go through BCO together or, take one of these intense finance classes together. And you really, make lifelong friends, I would say. And it's funny, Richie and I are total opposites in many ways. Richie. For those of you who don't know Richie, he was in the previous photo. But we are definitely opposites. I am the outgoing entertainment girl. He is the engineer guy. And, make your assumptions as you wish. Richie mentioned to me, we would never be friends if it wasn't for Anderson. And I thought that was kind of funny, but also kind of true because we are complete opposites. I mean, I don't know when we would have ever met if it wasn't for Anderson, but, I'm this like dancing, outgoing, walk up to a table of strangers and say hello kind of a girl. And he is, an engineering guy. Just like he's an engineer, you know what I mean? And so what's funny is that, I mentioned that, the relationships you build here.
Yeah.
He asked me, I showed you the case competition picture. He asked me to be on his team for the ethics case competition. And the reason I say it's funny is because he and I ethically do not see eye to eye. And that sounds odd because ethics are ethics. But I say that because I come from a female in entertainment, and I've seen things that a male in engineering has never seen before and has never dealt with before. And so, for example, we read this case, and I won't give you the gory details, but there was a woman in the workplace who essentially was asked to wear makeup. And he was appalled by that, as was most of my class. And I, coming from a woman in entertainment, said, well, just put the lipstick on then. If it's going to get them to shut up, put the lipstick on. Turns out I was in the wrong, but I would have put the lipstick on. But I said, Richie, we don't agree on ethics, ethically we agree for the most part. But for example, we did not agree on this makeup situation. And he said, well, that's exactly why I want you on my team, because we do not agree. And I think that is, part of the beauty in Anderson is that you will get an engineer and a dancer, a dancer who's on stage wearing the red lipstick, and an engineer who doesn't know what red lipstick is, debating red lipstick, right? So, you develop relationships that you never could have imagined is basically, what I'm getting at here. And Richie and I will be lifelong friends now.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, and it's so fun that you mentioned Richie, because in Derek's story, it was Richie who had a conversation with Derek Cox that led Derek to realize, oh, if I want to be a sports entertainment person, I need to go get an internship. And, and so I love Richie Chang is going to be our Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of Richie for the class.
I know. Well, and he's everywhere. Everybody knows him. Every class knows him, I think.
Well, I keep telling his story because during Leadership Foundations, he decided he was going to meet every single classmate that week. I
know. I remember. I was there for a lot of that. It was amazing.
That was like my 16th Leadership Foundations, so 200, 300 people a year for 16 years. No one ever chose to do that. And he did. He's like, do you know this person's not here? He was check and roll, basically. Yeah. That person had a baby. They're going to come next year. He was on top of it.
I know. He had a spreadsheet and everything.
I know. Well, he's an aerospace engineer.
Exactly.
We can put the satellite up into space and bring it down safely. You don't mess around, right? These guys have precision.
I know. I was like, yeah, I added them on LinkedIn. I'm sure I met them. He was like, no, let me look it up. Yeah, this person, and they did this, and okay, yeah, I met them. Great. Okay.
But what an amazing story that is, right? Like, because now who knows what subsequent classes people are going in Leadership Foundations going, well, maybe we won't meet everybody, but how about half?
Yeah,
I could play that game. I could play that game. Well, thank you. Because the question was, return on investment, is it worth it? And you said yes, without batting an eye. Business skills, people skills, and relationships. So
and the obvious is the job.
And the job. Yeah. You got the cash and prizes. You're walking out of here going to Deloitte, and they're lucky to have you. They're going to get a highly capable human being.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're coming to the finish line. So this is my lightning round. This is just fun. So, if you want to go long, you can, but these are just designed to be fun and quick. What are you most proud of about the class of 2021, your fellow classmates?
I would say our resilience, because we came in person, we were here through the pandemic, and we are seeing the quote unquote aftermath of the pandemic. And I think, everybody showed up, and while there were frustrations along the way, everybody made it work. And I just think that I'm just really proud of everybody for sticking with it. Would have been easier to not. And just the resilience of everybody in the class.
Love it. I love it. We're coming to the end of COVID, knock on wood. What are you looking forward to most post-COVID? Personal, professional, anything?
Happy hour. No, in all seriousness, seeing everybody in person, I live alone. It's been isolating. Zoom class is nice to see people, but it's not the same.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see everyone in person, and we have an in-person graduation. So I'm excited to
Yes.
see everybody.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's going to be some tears.
Mhm.
Now here's the other side of that question. What do you most want to keep from COVID, me talk pretty one day from COVID? What part of COVID do you want to see continue?
I think some of the work from home
Hmm.
is nice, not all of it, of course, because you live and work in the same space. But some of the in-person meetings that we don't need to drive however long for, or the team meetings, for example, can just be done on Zoom now. Because a lot of times I had classmates on my team who were driving from really far locations, and we would typically meet on campus because that was the center place, center meeting point for everybody. But I think, being able to utilize Zoom now is nice.
Love it. All right, Miss Amazing. Your favorite productivity hack. What's something that's like new, that's an upgrade in your work habits?
Okay, this is kind of cheating because it's not new, but it's a recycle from college that I forgot about.
Okay.
I listen to brown noise in
Brown
my
noise.
headphones. There's like white noise, pink noise, or something called smoothed brown noise. I can email you the link. It's on
I
YouTube.
have never heard of smoothed brown noise. Okay.
It's very particular,
I
but
guess.
it really helps me focus and not get distracted. It's easy to get distracted at home. You have the coffee going, you have the neighbors with the leaf blower, as you heard earlier. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, send it. We'll put it in the show notes underneath. Okay. Smoothed brown noise. You heard it here. Look what her life. You want to be like Maxine? Go
you
get
heard
you
it
some,
here first.
go
Smooth
get you,
brown noise.
get you a creative juice box and some smoothed brown noise.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. If you could say a quick note to welcome our newest class, what would you tell our new entering students who follow in your footsteps as they launch their Anderson journey?
Well, I'm sorry that it's nothing new I haven't said, but I would say go to happy hour when there is happy hour. I would say trust the process. Sorry, that's also not new. And I would also say, put yourself out there. You don't have to be like me and go to a table of strangers and say hello, but say hello to somebody in the class that you don't know and ask them about themselves, because you'll find that you learn just as much from your peers that you learn from the professors, I would say. And it might not be that you learn how to do stats, but you might learn about a skill set or a job or a career path that you didn't know about previously.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Three more, almost to the finish line. Your class manager, my colleague since the very first day I worked here, Terry Zabo, is getting ready to retire. So what wishes would you share with Terry Zabo as she enters retirement?
Well, I wish her well, of course. And I want to thank her for everything that she does, especially this past year, because we have been bombarding her with questions every probably hour about graduation. And it's just been, it's been great, smooth sailing, and always a pleasure to see her, whether it be on Zoom or in real life. Yeah.
Aw, thank you. All right, last two. This is just fun. I don't know. I was getting creative. If you were a character in Harry Potter,
Ooh.
male or female, good or bad, who would you be and why?
Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Okay. Why Harry? Why would you be Harry?
You know what? This is gonna sound silly. I relate to him in the same way that I feel like I relate to the Ugly Duckling story, where he's kind of the outsider, but he's also kind of friends with everybody. Everybody knows who he is, and like he helps people. I don't know. That makes me sound like I'm bragging or something. I don't know, but I just feel like he's kind of the outgoing guy that everybody knows, and I sort of feel like that. And I love just his story of how he came from a difficult place, or maybe in my case, I came from a unique background, but still made it work, and he has those trusted, true friends. And I feel like, my Ron and Hermione are my, my leadership foundations team and my BCO team. And so I feel like we're like the Harry Potter and the, little crew.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to be the hero in your story. Each of us does, right? It's our
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So it's spin-off question. So section 3.
But
oh, go ahead.
Sorry,
go
but
ahead.
also because I love Harry Potter the most. He's the best. Hermione is a badass, but Harry has all the like cool powers. He can talk to snakes. I mean, that's
yeah.
I would love to be able to talk to any animal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Parcel tongue could be useful as, yeah. And without Hermione, the whole thing, doesn't go forward. She saves the day at least once a book. Yeah. All right. So the tangential spinoff question from that, section 3, Tuesday night, Thursday night, your section. If you guys were one of the 4 houses in Harry Potter, which house would you be?
Gryffindor.
All right. And why?
Because we're the best.
Because we're the best. Okay. All right. Maybe this is going to get the same answer. I was just curious.
Is that what everyone is saying?
You're the first one. I forgot to do this with Ben. So I still got 4 interviews to go. So they won't know it's coming. So don't tell them.
I won't tell them. This was a surprise, but a pleasant one because I do love Harry Potter. Yeah, that's the only choice.
It's the only choice. But I mean, maybe somebody will say Hufflepuff. I don't know. It could happen.
Hufflepuff is like no, it's Gryffindor all the way.
All right. Gryffindor it is.
What would your house be?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. My 9-year-old is in love with Slytherin. He has a Slytherin, COVID mask, and he's all about Slytherin. And I'm like, this is so crazy, like you're not supposed to like Slytherin, but now he's got me fascinated with, dark arts and the magic, and Snape was from Slytherin, and right? Was Snape Gryffindor?
No, he was Slytherin, yeah.
Yeah, he was from Slytherin, and he's the background hero in the whole thing because he's doing all this because he's got a broken heart. I don't know. Gryffindor's a great answer. I don't know who I'd choose.
I mean, it would
your interview, not mine.
I think those are the only 2 options, Gryffindor or Slytherin, because you're either like, the hero, or you're like the shady hero. Yeah,
Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, they're just there so that, either Gryffindor or Slytherin always win the the next game of Quidditch. They're like set pieces. They're background props. I'm sorry. If you love Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, no harm, no foul. Okay. So that brings us to the end of my strange creative attempt at a lightning round. Anything you would want to say to anybody who's made it to this incredible end of this wonderful story? Anything you would want to share with anybody? Last words are yours, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. I mean, I would just say, thank you for having me here today. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, truly. When I started at Anderson, I knew it was a big class. I didn't imagine I would be selected for, this talk today. And it's really nice to speak with you today about coming full circle and the whole journey. And, when you're in it, you don't necessarily think of the beginning, middle, and the end. And it's really interesting to bring it all together, and also to look at this as a new beginning, because it's the end of Anderson, but it's the beginning of a new career, a new journey. And, Anderson is a beautiful chapter and also a new family. And so I hope that anyone who's listening to this will either be inspired to get their MBA if they're thinking about it, will look forward to their MBA if they're joining. And if you already have your MBA and you're listening to this, then congratulations to you. And, just keep at it. And I hope that, we will all be in person together at FEMBA Palooza, or I know you and I spoke about a FEMBA talent show in Royce Hall. So when that happens, please invite me. I would love to be there.
I think that's on my wish list. Anderson's Got Talent, black tie, Royce Hall, Saturday night, 1,800 filled seats in the
Love
future.
that. So I will look forward to that. And yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, everybody. This is Maxine Hupy. She's one of the summer spotlights nominated by her peers to tell her story. I hope you are as clear, having heard it, as I am as to why she was chosen. Thanks for giving us some, like, wow, if you could do it, maybe I could do it. I'm never going to be a professional dancer, but look what dedication and stick-to-itiveness. What were your three? Dedication,
discipline, and lessons in failure.
And failure, right? Coach Wooden, our very own Coach Wooden. If I don't fail, people who don't fail don't do anything, right? Failure is a necessary step towards success. So I wish you all success. I know you're going to go make us proud. You're going to go light up the room at Deloitte. You're going to be a wonderful asset to those companies who receive your analysis and your recommendations. So everybody, thanks for listening. We'll put some links in the bottom, Maxine's LinkedIn, and get yourself a creative juice box.
Yes,
give yourself
creativejuiceusa.com. If you want to check us out.
creativejuiceusa.com. Okay, Maxine, if you could give a Bruin bear hug to a family member, someone who helped get you through grad school, who would you like to acknowledge?
That's an easy one. I would have to say both of my parents with a simultaneous bear hug, if that's okay. Oh. They helped support me through, studying, through, all my struggles, and really encouraging me. And they have always been my biggest supporters in my whole life. And this is nothing different here. So they would definitely be the family members.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Maxine. We're very grateful for the person you raised. She's been a wonderful member of our village. Okay, excellent. Who is a friend, either within FEMBA or outside of FEMBA? Who's someone you'd like to send a bear hug to who also helped you get through grad school?
I'm going to choose a FEMBA, Richie Chang, who was the first person I met before school even started. We met at, it's crazy. We met at a happy hour for new admits, and he was then in my learning group, and then he was in my BCO team. We spoke about him earlier. And, he always pushed me, even though we had some opposing views at times. We were great teammates, and, we are friends forever now. So he definitely gets that Bruin bear hug from me.
We're going to start our own, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's now 6 degrees of Richie Chang.
I know.
I'm going to have to have we're going to have an additional peer nominated, I don't know, the People's Choice Award. We're going to have to bring Richie in and talk to him.
Yeah, you need to bring Richie on. He has great stories, plural, I would say.
And he's been referenced by, I think, all 6 nominees of the Spotlight series this summer. So he really is the most interconnected, most internetworked person. Okay, fantastic. So Maxine, if you could send a Bruin bear hug to a faculty member, who would you like to acknowledge?
That one's really difficult for me because I would probably want to Bruin bear hug all of my teachers that I've had, all the faculty, including you, of course, because during Leadership Foundations, I think, or maybe right before, I remember you ran into the auditorium with your cowboy hat on and made everybody smile. And it was, I don't even know how to explain it, but everyone just felt immediately comfortable and excited to be there. So you would get the first one.
Aw,
for sure.
thank you.
If I had to select one of my professors that I had in class, I would probably select Terry Kramer. And the reason is because I both audited and took one of his classes. And I think that, the way he structured our learning and the way he pushed everybody in the class really helped me grow a lot. And for that, I would give him a Bruin bear hug.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Well, this is, we appreciate you scheduling a little bit more of your time so that we could ask these last 3 questions as our lightning round. And here we are, a week and a day from graduation. So again, We can't wait to hear what it's like being a senior consultant at Deloitte Consulting. And we're so proud of the story that you've written for yourself. And I'm just so optimistic that our newest entrants in the class of 2024, plus generations beyond that, will hear your story of taking a dedicated career in one profession, dance in your case, and rewriting an entirely new narrative. You're just a wonderful example of how a person can transform themselves when they invest in grad school. And thank you so much, Maxine. It's been fun getting to hear the behind the scenes of your journey.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. And, Anderson, for anybody who is looking to apply or anybody who has already graduated knows it's a life-changing experience, and it's probably one that you don't expect. And, you can really write your own story. So I'm living proof of that. And so thank you again for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you, Maxine.